In this video, we will learn how to solve a cubic inequality by means of a sketch. Let's start with the very first example. If we have an equation y equals to x minus 1 the whole thing cube, there are two factors to consider when sketching a curve. The first is the shape of the graph. The second is roots of the equation. When we talk about the shape, that depends on coefficient of x cube, which we can see is positive. That means the graph will start from the top right and it will go till the bottom left. The second factor to be considered is the roots of the equation. That means the x-intercepts. This is where the graph cuts the x-axis, therefore y coordinate is 0. X minus 1 the whole thing cube equals to 0, x minus 1 equals to 0, therefore x equals to 1. That means the graph will start from top right. It will go till bottom left. It will pass through the point 1, 0, which is the x-intercept, and that's how the graph is drawn. Now the focus right now was on drawing a sketch. Now let's rephrase this question and let me make it something like this. Solve the inequality x minus 1 the whole thing cube is greater than 0. The graph was already drawn on the previous slide. Let me redraw it again. So it goes something like this: x-axis, y-axis, and the x-intercept is 1. Now when we talk about solving an inequality, the rule is, in order to solve a cubic inequality, a sketch is a must, which we have already drawn. So it's already done. The first part is completed. The second thing is, when we talk about greater than 0, it means a region of the graph above x-axis. Whether it's greater than 0 or greater than or equal to 0, the only difference is 0 is inclusive. Again, it's above x-axis. When it's lesser than 0 or lesser than or equal to 0, it will be below x-axis. In both cases, except it's inclusive in the second part, it's inclusive in the fourth part. Now when the question says find the range of values of x or solve the inequality such and such, we are focusing on this part of the graph, which is the orange part, which is above the x-axis. That means if I go to the right of 1, I would be climbing up the curve. I would be fulfilling the criteria, that is going above the x-axis. So the final answer from the graph is x is greater than 1. This is the range of values of x for which this inequality is true. Let's move to another example. Something like solving the inequality. Solve the inequality x minus 1, x minus 2, x plus 3 is lesser than or equal to 0. Now this is a cubic inequality. What are the factors to consider? The first one is coefficient of x cube, which we can see is positive. That means it will start from the top right, goes till the bottom left, or vice versa. The second thing to consider are the roots of the equation. the x-intercepts, the values of x at which the y coordinate is 0. Therefore, x minus 1, x minus 2, x plus 3 equals to 0. Equate each bracket to 0. Therefore, x is 1. X minus 2 equals to 0. Therefore, x is 2. X plus 3 equals to 0. Therefore, x is negative 3. Therefore, there is one positive root, two negative roots. It will start from here. It will go somewhere over here. It will pass through two positive and one negative root. So the graph goes something like this, and like this. This is 1. This is 2. This is negative 3. It's not drawn to scale. It's a sketch. It fulfills the purpose. Now the inequality is the cubic equation is less than 0, less than or equal to 0. That means we are focusing on this part of the graph. We are focusing on this part of the graph. This part is denoted by the range of values of x between 1 and 2 inclusive. This part of the graph is x is lesser than or equal to negative 3. The rule for solving a cubic inequality is draw and then locate the region and then write down the answer. Let's look at another example in which the focus is again on solving a cubic inequality. This time we have an equation y is equals to x minus 2, x square plus x plus 1. This is the cubic equation. If I simply focus on drawing or sketching the curve, so the very first thing is, what is the shape of the graph? That is based upon coefficient of x cube, which is positive because x is positive, x square is positive. Top right till bottom left or vice versa. What are the roots of this particular graph? X minus 2, x square plus x plus 1 equals to 0. When we equate x minus 2 equals to 0, we get a real root, x is equals to 2. When we equate x square plus x plus 1 equals to 0, there are no real solution. The reason being the discriminant b square minus 4ac is negative. This means there is only one real root of this equation. The graph will look something like this, starting from top right, going till bottom left, and the x-intercept is 2. Now the focus is solving the inequality. So let me write down the inequality. Solve y is greater than 0. When we talk about y is this cubic equation. Greater than 0 means region above x-axis. And when we talk about this region, we are talking about this particular region. How can we go up the curve? If we go to the right of the root. Therefore, the answer is x is greater than 2. And that's how the cubic inequalities are solved, based upon a sketch, drawing a sketch, looking at it, and writing down the answers.